Thank you. Good morning once again. Um, Great sessions on AI already, so the stage is well set. So I'm going to build on what the previous panel talked about on AI and express our opinion from a technology standpoint on the practical uses of AI in loyalty. So I personally believe strongly that AI is poised to change the way we run loyalty programs. It's shifting us from reactive to proactive, generic to hyper-personalized, and transactional to very engagement-focused. So today we are not going to discuss any theory. AI can be very complex. It can be very overwhelming, quite understandable. We are going to look at some simple AI uses in loyalty. Some of those are actually in use by some of our clients with some proven results. Some still in experimentation stage, some in beta, some being touched upon in a very skeptical way. So I'll cover all of that story. Before we before we get to the specific AI use cases, I would like to start with sharing with you our point of view on how loyalty technology is evolving. So about 25 years back, when I started my career in loyalty technology, I was building loyalty platform for Oracle. It was Oracle Loyalty. Back in the day, the concept of loyalty product was quite new. There were not many loyalty vendors in the market back then. This is 2002 I'm talking about. We started building Oracle Loyalty in partnership with Qantas Airlines. And the ask was pretty simple. Build a product that has web services for enrolling customers from the websites. There were no mobile apps back then. And it has earn and burn engine. It does batch processing. It has certain analytics that shows you after the fact performance of offers and promotions. And it was complex then because the technology was not quite ready to be able to do a loyalty play through an enterprise product. We built that product. We had a phenomenal market back in the day. The purpose of loyalty those days was to acquire customers and reward them for transactions. When you flew a mile, you earned a mile. You earned status miles, and you got tier status, so on and so forth. Fast forward to 2015, when we started building Loyalty Juggernaut, our goal shifted from providing full functionality to providing operational excellence. So we are looking at cloud-native platform, which is zero downtime, highly scalable, amazing user experience, drag and drop, flexible, configurable, adaptable, zero code, all of that cool stuff we had as our goal, and ecosystem, which basically allows the program to transform from brand-centric to multi-partner to cluster to coalition to wherever you want to take your program to. That was the hallmark back in the day. How we see technology evolving going forward, we see the technology's future is autonomous. I put a Cybertruck picture there. It's these days not quite politically correct to talk about Tesla. Nonetheless, it's my favorite brand. I think the where the technology is headed is really where the technology basically tells you what happened, what's going to happen, what you should do, and if you allow it, it does it for you. It monitors the business outcomes, it monitors your platform performance, and provides the corrective actions and recommendations that ensures that not only that your program is running while you're sleeping, but it's also enabling the customer experience that your customers expect of you. There is no technical issue in loyalty program. Every issue is a customer experience issue. When your APIs fail, it's not a technical issue. It's the issue for a customer who is shopping on Black Friday on your e-commerce portal, not receiving their benefits, and them feeling betrayed or cheated. So everything ultimately boils down to customer experience. So that's why it's important to have this autonomy in the platform, especially for your programs that are large, growing. There were talks about, Ian talked about how you should continue to enroll new customers, ask them, do you have a card, do you have membership? Ideally speaking, every business should have every customer in the loyalty program. There might be some who do not opt for it because they have data privacy concerns, but I think there should be an attempt to understand your customers. You might not stalk them, you might not reward them, you might not communicate with them, but it's very important that you know your customers. And for that, this autonomous technology is going to the future, in our view. And connecting the dot with AI, we believe AI is the backbone for that autonomy. Talking about specific use cases, there are a bunch. We've been working on AI for almost last 30 months. And before that, a year, we are brainstorming as to where we start. Because by 2018, it was very clear that AI is going to be here. You love it, you hate it, but you can't ignore it. And we started to feel at some point that loyalty actually is a perfect use case to build AI strategy around. Right? So we built several AI modules in different stages. We got a couple of US patents on a couple of AI modules that we built, and then some we believe have invention potential in them to further claim our specific recognition as a US patent. But just to quickly give you a rundown, and then we'll drill down into some of these, time permitting. So the first and foremost, we call it I individualize. So AI is I individualize. This particular module essentially allows you to create one loyalty campaign, which basically says fly to your favorite destination and earn your favorite reward, which individualizes the call to action for every member uniquely. You could be targeting million customers, but for each customer, the from and to is derived dynamically by AI based on where they are likely going to fly, where they've flown in the past, what's their favorite travel destination, everything you know about the customer. So the call to action is individualized. The value proposition is individualized. The reward quantum is individualized. So every parameter that plays a role on both the left hand and right hand side of the loyalty equation is individualized dynamically, right? So you create one offer that renders million different ways for every specific customer. And you could think about those examples in every industry: retail, telco, financial services, you name it. So that's the first one. Gravity, I recommend. That's perhaps the common minimum denominator. We've seen our loyalty vendors, the other our peers. Usually that is the starting point, right? The next best action, which we used to have 20 years back in Oracle as well. It was through an acquired company called Sigma Dynamics. We didn't call it AI back then. We call it real-time decisions. But the principles were pretty much the same. So this becomes a very simple starting point because next best action existed 20 years back. AI made it easy, so let's start there. So it's very important. So while I individualize is individualization or personalization through outbound channels, I recommend is personalization in inbound channels. When customers log into the mobile apps, web portal, you show them what you believe will resonate well with them, and they'll respond positively to it. Next one is Gravity iSense. This is actually the first one we built. What iSense does, essentially, it monitors your business events and outcomes and platform reliability and alerts you when it sees that something doesn't look like business as usual. It was a simple use case for AI to look at the anomalies, to look at prescriptive rules, and then alert your designated loyalty operators to say, it looks like the enrollment dipped from this location in this country. We talked about several multinational loyalty programs with local execution. A lot can go wrong in a grand scheme of things. You could have huge dashboards, hundreds of KPIs, and finding those anomalies is like finding a needle in a haystack. iSense overcomes that limitation. It essentially tells you that something doesn't look right here, right? You might want to go and check whether this is, whether there is something going on. It could be platform issue. It could be some misconfiguration. For example, let's say your cost per point spikes suddenly because you configured an incorrect redemption pricing rule. It can cause thousands of dollars of loss if not detected immediately. So iSense essentially brings it to your attention in every 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes moving window. So it's analytics by exception powered by AI, right? So that's the first one we had built, and pretty much our 80% install-based customers, they use it. Now, this is a no-brainer to use a tool like this because in a large loyalty program, especially when you have hundreds of partners, millions of customers, this is your best friend, right? To basically keep your program honest and alert you and give you that peace of mind that if something goes wrong, I'm going to get an alert on my mobile app. That's something I need to look at. It can be a simple thing like your overnight batch. A particular batch from a particular partner runs longer than 30 minutes, for example, which you expect to finish within 30 minutes, it will alert you for that as well, right? So the alert levels is configurable. It's like, for those technically oriented, it's a Datadog for application, right? So there is Datadog for infrastructure in cloud. This is Datadog for the application layer or business layer of it. The next step is iRetain. iRetain essentially, and if you see these modules, we given a positive twist to it. We don't call it iChurn, it's iRetain. It essentially calculates retention score of every member of your loyalty program at multiple levels. If you are a brand-centric loyalty program, it gives a retention score for every member. If you're a multi-partner loyalty program like Spen or like Avios, it calculates retention score at multiple levels. It tells you that your retention propensity is 80, which is pretty high at the loyalty program level. However, your retention propensity for a particular partner is only 15. Now, this can be highly actionable first-party data for the partners or for a particular segment so that those partners can use that data. It could be anonymous, but their target segment can include all the customers in a loyalty program whose retention score is between 15 and 30, right? To kind of swing them, make sure that they're aware of this new partner they have in the loyalty program and benefit from their participation in the loyalty program. So that's iRetain. Next one is iTrust. That's another one that was a very obvious use case for AI. iTrust essentially is a fraud detection tool, and we got a patent on that as well. iTrust uses a nice blend of supervised, unsupervised models to identify that a particular member flew from the same airport twice on the same day. What are the odds? Or a customer had two earned transactions at two different locations which are miles apart in a span of 5 minutes. Or there are too many accruals from the same IP, could be a cashier fraud. So all of those things detected through iTrust. And these models are industry verticalized so that you know that certain transaction which can be, for example, you can have multiple swipes of your credit card within the span of half an hour, but you can't have multiple physical earn at different physical locations. So it has that kind of industry understanding as well. Forecast basically forecasts any time series, right? It basically says what's likely going to be your breakage, what's likely going to be your liability, your partner receivables, revenues. Any metric that has time series implication can be forecast with iForecast. iScan is a receipt scanning software. Receipt scanning is pretty old, right? All those who run CPG loyalty programs, shopping mall loyalty programs, where you do not have the access to the transactional system like point of sale e-commerce. You can't snoop into your shopping mall tenant's point of sale. Receipt scanning is to rescue. But however, all of you you'd agree that receipt scanning traditionally has been very fraud prone, very error prone. And iScan essentially is a leapfrog. Also, receipt scanning takes a lot of training, right? You have to train the model with hundreds of receipts. The iScan, the we went about it is a combination of AI and Gen AI, where the training is minimal. And if you have multilingual receipts, which is quite common in European countries, you could adapt from one language to another language without the need to retraining the software. I will talk more about it as we go down. Gravity iPrice that we worked on very recently, like last quarter. iPrice is an attempt to make redemption pricing dynamic through AI. So we have rules-based dynamism. It basically says if you are a resident of this country, this tier status, this is your lifetime value, you get 10% discount. You're a senior citizen, you get a different award price. But iPrice works with a little different mechanism. So iPrice looks at the fact that what is your redemption goal? You want to accelerate redemption velocity, or you want to reduce the cost of redemption? Seemingly contradictory objectives. You feed those objectives and then let the system decide within a user-defined range what should be the price of a particular award for a particular customer. Particularly in travel industry, customers are used to be paying different fee, right? When you fly, the person sitting next to you has likely paid a different fare than what you paid. So this principle applies here as well. So it looks at each award's propensity for a member to redeem, as well as their miles balance, and all those factors it spits out in iPrice, which is dynamic price for a particular award. Lastly, Gravity Pulsar. That's our agentic AI in loyalty. Essentially, we talked about offer creation and how the promotions 20 years back, launching a promotion used to be a week-long wonder. With Gravity Pulsar, actually you don't configure anything, right? You actually type in, right, in an English prompt as to what you want to do, and Pulsar does it for you. Of course, going back to the test analogy, it's like supervised FSD. It will do something, but it will do something really wrong. So you have to make sure that what it generates is what you really intend to really deliver to your customers. But it takes away a lot of your workload. A lot of your training needs are minimized because it is generating rules, it is generating creatives, it is generating communication text, it is generating images for you, and the entire life cycle of promotion creation can be automated with Gravity Pulsar. So that's our portfolio of overall, and then the practical uses that we have seen resonating well with our client base. We'll drill down a little bit into some of these. So let's look at Individualize. So over the years, when you review all the priorities of loyalty programs, right? All these different priorities evolve at different times. We talk about sustainability for the last 2-3 years, scalability, with cloud, flexibility, configurability. However, one thing that hasn't changed is personalization. In my career spanning developing 3 loyalty technologies, Oracle Loyalty, Siebel Loyalty, and now Gravity, that one theme always remained. And for obvious reason, I think personalization is the holy grail of loyalty programs, and it's not easy to do it at scale. And the fact is, personalization 1.0, it essentially focused on segments, right? We felt that, okay, this is the urban female executive segment, this is millennial segment, and then we created value prop around segments. However, last 5 years, we talk about emotional loyalty. Now, emotion is not attached to segment. You don't attach the word emotion with a cohort. Emotion is individualistic. And that's why the personalization 2.0 focuses on individuals. And that's why we call it individualization, right? It is essentially the highest or the most pristine form of personalization, which treats every member as an individual, regardless of the fact that your program could have 150 million members, right? But every member is unique and their experiences are unique. So individualize, we use AI to, as I mentioned earlier, individualize every single loyalty campaign that delivers different benefits and different call to action to different customers. Let me show you an example. So this is an airline example. So it's the same campaign for Susan, Amber, and John, delivering different call to action and different benefits, right? You fly San Francisco on 5x bonus miles, Istanbul on a concert ticket, and fly London, get a complimentary class upgrade. This is based on AI's prediction on what kind of benefit will resonate better with a particular customer. If I fly most of the time to attend these conferences, I don't need extra baggage, right? If you give me extra baggage, it's going to annoy me, right? If you're going to give me an upgrade, free Wi-Fi, I'll appreciate that better. So it looks at those aspects and personalizes the end benefit. Also looks at the destinations I'm very likely going to fly, right? And there can be parallels. For example, this is a retail example, right? Wherein this is a real example that our clients implemented. So here, basically, the call to action is to buy into a certain product category. Now, your individualization goal could be upsell or cross-sell, depending on that. For example, if I buy $200 worth of grocery from Safeway, there's no point in rewarding me bonus points for buying $200 worth of grocery. You could give me 5 times more bonus points if I buy about $200, whereas Ralph buys only $50 worth of grocery. He should get reward bonus points above $50. So there is a stretch goal that is determined for every customer if you are looking to do upsell in the same category. If your goal is cross-sell, and I'm buying grocery always, I don't buy electronics, you're trying to sell me electronics, even spending $1 on electronic will give me enormous amount of bonus points. So that is all adapted in real time. Your category is picked up in real time, your spend threshold, your benefits, everything is individualized. So you decide basically which parameters you want to individualize and which parameters you want to control yourself, right? So that's the individualization. Quick results to share here from a major retail client in the Middle East. The individualized campaign delivered 2x to 3x improved results. The segment based also had sales lift, of course, that was the way they did it. One of the things worth sharing with you, when we presented individualization, there was obviously a lot of nervousness about using a black box that decides what is communicated to every customer. I think rightly highlighted by one of our esteemed panelists here that AI, there are skeptics, and there's no reason for me to trust AI. It's a black box after all. And trust and transparency are very important. So we evangelize individualization with this customer, saying that, look, you can continue to run the way you do personalization today, which is segment based, but alongside that, do targeted campaign which uses individualization, and then balance it out. Like someone nicely mentioned here, to balance it out. So balance it out over a period of time. In fact, initial attempts had individualization yielding less results than the segment based, because the members were also had a muscle memory of receiving certain kind of promotions. Over a period of time, it really showed improved results as individualization started to pick up and show much superior sales lift there. Again, preaching to the choir here, I think there's a very telling stats from McKinsey that a small improvement in personalization can have $1 trillion impact. We also got US patent on the hyper personalization or individualization, as we call it, for that particular AI module. So we thought we should quickly share that. Really quickly, how many more minutes we have? 1 more minute? Okay, so I'll just cover this quickly and then we'll move on. So iSense, as I mentioned briefly earlier, that it monitors business events, activities, and platform performance. It essentially, for example, you have a rogue customer filing multiple retro claims. They get hold of a PNR pack and then file multiple retro claims within a span of 1 hour. And then half of those fail because they are John Doeing every PNR and the system is failing. But at the same time, the remaining get through. And these are all real life use cases that we faced, which is what motivated us to build iSense. So iSense basically alerts you on what happened, and it not only monitors and alerts, it also remedies the situation. So this particular rogue member who is filing too many retro claims, what are the odds that I have 5 retro claims in 30 minutes? it suspends my membership instantaneously. It puts me in a stage where I can earn points, but I cannot redeem it. And then when I try to redeem it, it says call this number to first, and it doesn't necessarily tell the member that you're fraud, but basically flags the member as somebody who needs investigation, right? So a lot of those aspects done through iSense. We had 60,000 iSense alerts across all our client deployments in the last 2 years, on an average 2 per day, and those belong to multiple, human errors, member fraud, user fraud, partner-related anomalies, all of these different kind of issues that were reported. And then if you look at this, because the fact is you can track these anomalies in the nick of time, because this uses underlying Amazon's time stream database that was invented in 2021. It looks at the moving window as to what happened in the last 15 minutes or last 20 minutes and reports you continuously based on that. So because it's near real time to alert you when something doesn't look business as usual, obviously it has a huge upside in terms of arresting and remedying the situation in the nick of time. So it will still cause some loss, but it will be a lot superior than finding that after the fact a week later that you forgot to upload a file wherein the promotion was to be limited only to 200 products. Instead, it applied to 2 million SKUs. Right? Imagine the level of downside you have at that point, including the marketing backlash. So iSense, again, as I mentioned, this is the most universally adapted AI module from Gravity across our install base. I'll I'll pause here for now. We are at our booth here upstairs, so please come and talk to us if you'd like to know more about the other models as well. The idea was to give you the broader perspective in terms of the practical use cases of AI and the kind of benefits that we see the clients are getting. Some of these, as I mentioned, like iPrice and others, are in experimental mode. If David allows, I would like to play one quick video. David, is it okay? We'll take like 90 seconds. Okay, all right, no problem. All right, so the video I was going to play is playing on our TV upstairs, so you can come and watch there. David won't be there, so you can spend as much time as you like. Thank you.